In the next 30 years, space travel will no longer be a distant dream. By 2050, our journey into the cosmos will have transformed in ways we can barely imagine today. From Mars colonies to commercial space tourism, the future of space exploration promises to be both thrilling and challenging. But what will space travel truly look like in 2050? Let's find out. The future of space travel hinges on advancements in technology. One of the most promising developments is nuclear thermal propulsion. Agencies like NASA and companies like BWX Technologies are already working on prototypes that could reduce travel time to Mars by up to 50%. This technology uses nuclear reactors to heat a propellant to generate thrust, making it much more efficient than chemical rockets. Meanwhile, spacecraft design is evolving rapidly. Take SpaceX's Starship, a fully reusable spacecraft designed for long-duration missions. By 2050, we might see modular spacecraft that can be assembled and upgraded in orbit, tailored to specific missions. The Gateway, NASA's planned lunar outpost, is an early example of modular design, where different modules serve specific purposes such as science labs, habitats, and docking ports. China is also making significant strides in space technology. The China National Space Administration has been developing its own heavy-lift rockets, like the Long March 9, which is expected to play a crucial role in future deep space missions. Additionally, China is exploring advanced propulsion technologies, including electric and nuclear propulsion, to support their long-term ambitions in space. By 2050, humans could have a permanent presence on Mars. Companies like SpaceX are leading the charge with their plans to send the first crewed missions to Mars in the 2020s, which is very unlikely as of now, and establish a self-sustaining colony by 2050. Imagine growing crops in Martian soil, mining the planet for water, and building habitats from local materials. The technology being developed today, such as SpaceX's Starship and NASA's Perseverance rover, lays the groundwork for these ambitious plans. On the Moon, NASA's Artemis program aims to establish a sustainable lunar base by the 2030s. China is also heavily invested in lunar exploration. The CNSA has successfully landed several robotic missions on the Moon, including the Chang'e series of lunar landers and rovers. By 2050, China plans to establish a permanent lunar research station, potentially in collaboration with Russia, as outlined in their International Lunar Research Station roadmap. These bases could serve as a critical stepping stone for deeper space missions, providing a platform for research, resource extraction, space tourism, and act as a launch pad for future missions to Mars. Asteroid mining is another frontier that could be realized by 2050. Companies like Planetary Resources and Deep Space Industries are exploring the feasibility of mining asteroids for precious metals, water, and other resources. These materials could be used to support space colonies or even shipped back to Earth, potentially revolutionizing our economy. One of the key developments in space exploration by 2050 will be in-situ resource utilization. This involves using resources found on other planets, moons, or asteroids to support human missions and colonies. Imagine extracting water from the moon's polar ice or producing oxygen on Mars from the carbon dioxide-rich atmosphere. NASA's MOXIE experiment, currently operating on the Mars 2020 Perseverance rover, is a prototype for such technology and has proven to be a viable technology for astronauts on Mars to produce oxygen for fuel and breathing. ESRU could enable us to live off the land in space, reducing the need to transport everything from Earth. Space tourism is set to boom by 2050. Imagine taking a vacation in orbit, staying in a luxurious space hotel with breathtaking views of Earth. Companies like Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin are already offering suborbital flights, giving civilians a taste of space travel. But by 2050, this could evolve into multi-day stays aboard orbiting hotels. The Orbital Assembly Corporation is one such company planning to build a space hotel named Voyager Station, One of the most ambitious commercial space projects is Blue Origin's Orbital Reef, a next-generation space station designed as a mixed-use business park in low Earth orbit. By 2050, Orbital Reef could serve as a hub for space tourism, scientific research, and even manufacturing in microgravity. Companies, governments, and private individuals could rent space on the station for various purposes, making it a key player in the space economy. Private space companies are playing a pivotal role in this transformation. SpaceX is not only focusing on Mars, but also on commercial space travel with its Starship program, which could ferry passengers to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. Blue Origin, with its New Shepard and New Glenn rockets, is aiming to make space travel accessible and sustainable, opening the door to a future where space tourism becomes a common experience. It's also important to acknowledge the contributions of rising space companies like Rocket Lab, Firefly Aerospace, and Relativity Space. These companies are making significant strides in launching small satellites, developing new rocket technologies, and pioneering 3D printed rockets. By 2050, these and other emerging players could become major forces in the space industry, driving innovation and competition. The future of space exploration will be a global effort. The International Space Station has been a model of international cooperation for over 2 decades, with space agencies from the United States, Russia, Europe, Japan, and Canada working together. By 2050, we might see even more ambitious projects, such as a multinational mission to Mars or a global space agency formed to pool resources and expertise. One exciting example of collaboration is the Artemis Accords, which is a set of agreements between NASA and its international partners to ensure peaceful and cooperative exploration of the Moon and beyond. This could pave the way for a future where space exploration is a truly global endeavor, with nations working together to explore and utilize space in a peaceful and sustainable manner. As we venture into space, ethical questions will arise. For instance, should we terraform Mars, potentially altering its environment to suit our needs? This is not just a technical question, but a deeply ethical one, as it involves altering an entire planet. Researchers and ethicists, like those at the Planetary Society, are already debating these issues. Another growing concern is space debris. With the increasing number of satellites and missions, the risk of collisions in orbit is rising. Companies like ClearSpace are developing technology to remove debris from space, but by 2050, we will need robust international regulations to manage space traffic and preserve the space environment. Education will also be a key factor in the success of future space endeavors. As the space industry grows, so will the demand for a specialized workforce. By 2050, universities and training centers may offer specialized programs in space engineering, medicine, law, and even space ethics. Organizations like NASA, ESA, and ISRO are already partnering with educational institutions to develop the next generation of space professionals. These efforts will ensure that we have the skilled workforce necessary to sustain human presence in space. Finally, consider the social implications of becoming a multiplanetary species. If we establish colonies on Mars or the Moon, what rights will those settlers have? Will they be governed by Earth laws, or will new legal frameworks be developed? These are questions that organizations like the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs are already beginning to explore. The year 2050 will mark a new era in space travel, a time when the boundaries of our world extend beyond Earth. The journey will be challenging, but the possibilities are limitless. With companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, international collaboration, and advancements in technology, the future of space travel is bright. So, are you ready to be part of this exciting journey into the cosmos? What will 2050 really look like? Let me know in the comments.